Okay, everyone, welcome to another episode of Divulgence. I hope you are all doing well today. I'm very happy to welcome our next guest, who is the author of God, School, 9/11, and JFK, The Lies That Are Killing Us, and the Truth That Sets Us Free. I am very happy to welcome back Bruce de Torres. Hi, Bruce, how are you?
Great, very excited to be on your show again. Remind me, what is the turtle signifying?
I'm sorry?
What is the turtle
The
signifying?
turtle, it's just my favorite animal, actually. So I'm just trying to pump them out there as much as I can. I don't think the turtles get enough respect these days. So,
I agree. More power to the turtle. Absolutely.
yeah, my friend. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming back. I'm very happy to have you. Your book is a very excellent read. You do cover some very important topics, and you do a very nice job in wrapping them up with critical thinking and just trying to give a bit of a head shake to everyone to take a look around and see what's going on in the world and read between the lines and pay attention and just look for what's important.
Yeah, you just summed up a lot of great advice for any human, especially of the adult variety. Have you had a chance to get through the whole thing?
Almost. I'm almost done. I did jump around a little bit because some interesting there's so many interesting things, but I haven't finished it completely, but I should be done probably by tomorrow, I would imagine.
Oh, thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. What are the words above the sheep on your baseball cap?
Black sheep
Just yep,
just is as it is. So, if
exactly.
it's the black sheep in the family or the society, but sometimes that's how
Yeah,
you feel when you poke your head above the water, right? I mean, I'm sure you've
yeah.
experienced that yourself.
Yes, it reminds me of my friend Mark Steve's podcast called My Family Thinks I'm Crazy.
Yeah, Mark's podcast. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's a very good title because I'm sure a lot of people have experienced that kind of thing. And I know
Yeah.
I'm sure my dad gives his head a shake once in a while whenever I talk about what I talk about, but
Well, it's seeping in. He's hearing it. He's
that's true.
hearing it.
It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, absolutely.
And for folks who are, kind of mainstream believers, that's our job, our opportunity, our pleasure to kind of, hey, have you seen any of the evidence that 9/11? Do you know anyone? You strike up a conversation any way you can. Hey, Dad,
Exactly.
do you know anyone besides me who says that 9/11 was an inside job? Just let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, no, true enough.
Yeah.
That's why
Um,
I think that's why your book is good because like I said, it takes a lot of it takes a lot of the subjects that you talk about and you do some I guess you can say reflecting or promotion of reflecting and critical thinking. So it's not so much just throwing facts at you and
yeah.
trying to turn the tables. Right? It's a good conversation starter. Absolutely.
Well, thanks. It's written, I hope and think, with a lot of respect for the reader. It's wrapped in my observations about life and reality. Okay. And hopefully that message at the beginning and at the end is empowering if somebody will ponder what I say in their own good time, in their own sweet time, as they, ponder anything. And if they get some empowerment out of it, that's the intention, because the body of it, what I say about real organized religion, what I say about 9/11, JFK, and those conversations expose the crimes and inhumanity of the United States government in the hands of forces that have captured it for decades, if not a century and a half. And then the brief history of the United States, exposing some more lies and horrors behind the scenes. The chapter COVID-19, again, exploring the evidence that the whole thing might be a tremendous psychological and biological warfare against us. The reasons to be cheerful, no, sarcasm, very heavy stuff. So if you were my son, I like to talk to people because I like to talk to myself as if I'm a parent coaching a traumatized child. That helps Bruce be Bruce.
Okay.
And I find that a lot of folks resonate with that approach. Why? Well, without knowing that's my intention, people feel I'm trying to be very loving and supportive, like a great mom, and also very, very inspiring and encouraging, like a great dad, to handle the horrors you learn about in my book.
And that's where some of the spirituality comes into play, right?
Mm. Well, tremendously, because I encapsulate and make the case that humans conceive ideas and experience nature and life and love and friends and family and people that we love and animals that we love at a very, very deep spiritual level. And to have a spiritual imagination implies that one conceives of reality and existence has a spiritual dimension. Okay. And I'm trying to be a bridge to folks who say, I don't want to hear about spirituality. Keep your spiritual / religious views to yourself. And I say, well, okay. But for those who either have a spiritual imagination or want to hear me describe its value for the next few minutes, it goes like this. To the degree that life has a spiritual dimension or element, or we do, that's the degree of responsibility and power that we have, because I say it's spirit through and through, it's soul through and through, including you. It's love, it's consciousness, it's energy through and through. And that opens up all that poets and mystics have said, that life is an emotional mirror. And we intended to come here to some degree, maybe completely, maybe very consciously. Okay, Jordan, this is how it works. All spirits who will bump into each other at some point as brothers or sisters or as friends at some point in their life, we plan this way in advance. Okay. And here we are. Now we're enjoying and, talking to each other, as humans named Jordan and as a human named Bruce. We don't know how long our friendship's going to last. We don't know. But right here in this moment, we're going to honor it and enjoy it, knowing we intended this. So that's what I get out of my spiritual imagination, is that no one can be hurt, no one disappears. We are eternal spirits who are playing this game called being human, and a part of it is when it starts, this game, yeah, we're not going to know it's a game. Okay. We're going to think it's us against all the forces of nature that are conspiring to kill us. Yeah. Wow, that sounds scary. Oh, you haven't heard scary yet. We're going to think that if we don't figure out how to make a lot of money and first and make sure we get it and others don't, we're going to die. Wow. And dying sucks. Oh my God. Dying's the worst, most awful, frightening, horrible. Oh my God, we're not going to exist anymore. We really want to do that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You really, really, really want to do. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, Jordan. What do you make of all that?
Well, I would agree. I mean, it's this whole energy that's organically turned into, I guess what you can say the earth is. It's become a bit of a rat race for a lot of people, which can come in different forms, but essentially it's one way or the other. It's got to get to the top, got to get that money, got to do this, got to do that. You've been whatever goals for yourself that you've set that may not necessarily be important because they've been more so instilled into you by the media and the news and politicians and celebrities. And but no, I completely agree. One way or another, there's a level of spirituality to the world and to everyone and to everything. Everything's made of something, and it gets broken down, just like you say in your book. It gets broken down. It's all energy in some shape or form. So
Thanks. And for folks who are resistant to it, or they just don't have a spiritual imagination, they're very happy. They're good people. They're living a wonderful life, and they just
sure,
think
yeah.
right. They just think it's matter, and they just think it's just the the physical realities that we have to deal with. Great. But if there's some things they don't understand or some fears that they're dealing with, I submit as evidence for all that I just said, that I propose, reality and spirit are. I submit as evidence a couple things. Number one is the hundreds, I believe I'm right in saying, the multiple thousands of people who have been studied, they've told their stories, they've been interviewed, if not interrogated, who died for some period of time, a few minutes or longer, a few seconds or longer, and revived and describe what they experienced on the other side. These are called near death experiences, NDEs. And if someone listens to interview after interview from these people or reads their stories and stories and stories, there have been books about this now for decades. Trust your own judgment, friends and family out there whom I'm addressing in this scenario, and decide for yourself, is that compelling? And dare you hope that it's true and that that's what's in store for all of us, a seamless transition into a realm of indescribable love and warmth and safety and wisdom and connection and knowledge that these people, the survivors, say, Jordan, is more real than this. And back as humans, they simply do not have the vocabulary to explain what it really was like. The words do not exist. Okay. Then that implies to me our responsibility, our intention to have this lifetime right here. Okay. And then finally, it brings us to what many success coaches and other gurus and mystics and poets have said along these lines. Everything's made of thought. Everything's made of intention. And when you go out in nature and you quiet your raging mind and worries and fears that modern culture and the media want to keep us all ginned up and revved up to have no peace, to be lost in all of our thoughts and worrying, and all meditation is to calm us, to be able to set our intent to love life, love the moment that we're in, and challenge yourself to pay attention to the coincidences. Challenge yourself to feel the moment that you're in, inside or outside, as your scene partner. I'm an actor. It's a metaphor that works for me. Okay. I'm paying attention to you, Jordan, with all the intention I can to give you attention and give you love and give you respect and make you feel very, very welcome, safe, and at home. Why? Well, 99% of that reason is so I feel those things. See ya. You're just the lucky beneficiary of it.
I get that.
And as I coach anyone or anyone has coached me, to do those kind of things, we realize, hey, we can come together. Okay, so that's the beginning and the end of what can be said about spirituality in a few minutes. Also watching the clock, trying to fill the pie chart of what this hour is going to be, most appropriately. And all that is well explained in the beginning and the end of my book. And it's a short book. And because people dwindle in an episode, I'm starting to do this, Jordan. Maybe I did this with you. I've got a website, brucedettorres.com, where you can read about the book. You can find my email address, bruce@brucedettorres.com, to pursue helping each other get through this thing called life, whatever it is. All that spiritual stuff was the original inspiration for my book. And I had said it so succinctly. I had 39 or 41 pages. After years of writing and writing, I had 200 pages, and then I carved it and edited it, and I got it down to that. And then 9/11 happened, and a few years later, someone challenged me to study it for myself because he claimed that the official story is a lie. And that was shocking to me. But he seemed like an intelligent, incredible person. And I started looking into it in 2004. And that opened up all the doors of how the rich of this country and also the world captured the United States government over the course of 150 years or more so, really. And I, I, I was outraged and I was inflamed. I felt really betrayed, and I felt it was very, very urgent to articulate it. So I started going to an open mic. I was already going to an open mic night at a little divey bar every Wednesday night and getting up there and taking my turn for 15 minutes to talk about love and consciousness and spirituality and how thoughts become things, and this is all an illusion. There's only one of us here and only love is real. But from 2004 on, I was teaching about 9/11, and I was teaching about the Federal Reserve and the bankers behind it all. And it was, and then for the 10-year anniversary, I did a series of 7 weeks in a row about 9/11. In 2013, it was the 50th anniversary of President Kennedy's assassination, so I really dove into that. And then in 2014, decided I've got to write all this up as problems that are solved by everything I just said about spirituality, and also solved if enough of us knew how phony the official stories were about all those things. So until 2020, I was writing the book. I got a contract in 2020 to have it published, and I had that extra year to write the new chapter on COVID. So my book just came out this spring, and something will happen when enough of us know. Those words float on the screen at the end of one of the 9/11 documentaries that I saw in the first few years I was studying it. Something will happen when enough of us know. I modify that, Jordan, and I say good things will happen when enough of us know. They're going to
Amen.
could be amazing. They could be startling. They could be very unpredicted. What do you make of all that?
Yeah, I think that's where the camaraderie lies, is when enough of us know and truly understand, and not only understand the truth, but also the other side of the coin that you're explaining, that spiritual side of things, and just understanding the feelings and the thoughts and um, that go into making the world a better place, and making these relationships with people, and understanding how you can do good with your fellow man. But again, I don't think that happens without the spiritual side, and without the truth, which is an understanding of what's going on, and how things really are.
Right. Yeah. And with the quote unquote truth, there's a lot of folks who believe the mainstream story about everything. They're very well educated,
Sure.
and
Yep.
yeah, and the help for folks can be very tangible. For folks who don't want to hear about spirituality stuff and they don't want to hear about conspiracy theories, it starts by appealing to them to have an open mind to just look at the evidence. And here's my wedge, you know. It's to consider ourselves members of a jury, and to imagine that what the government and the media say about 9/11 or the Vietnam War or the Kennedy assassination or the causes of World War II or the COVID-19, imagine that what the government and the corporate media says is a prosecutor's case. Okay, and you're in court. Now, the prosecution gets to make its case that all these things are so. They show all the evidence, that you hear all the witnesses, you get to look in their eye, you get to decide for yourself whether you feel someone's telling the truth. Great, you've seen all that evidence. And now you get to hear from the defense. You get to see all the evidence, and you get to hear all the witnesses and look in their eyes and do a gut check of all they say that contradicts what the government and the media has said. And then also, and this is the beautiful part of a trial, courtroom trial, each side is subjected to cross-examination. The defense gets to interrogate the government's witnesses and their evidence and pull apart the inconsistencies and try to expose where it's fallacious, it's false and wrong, and the prosecution gets to do the same. And then, and only then, should we have the ego to think I'm qualified to make a decision. Now, what does that sound like? A ton of work? Well, yeah, to put all that together. And that's why people write books, so that in your own time you can, so I'm making the case obviously on the other side. And to say that, we need to know spirituality or have a spiritual imagination in order to feel good, be happy or whatever. Well, yes and no, because that's like bringing up a conversation about this stuff and telling someone, let's get married. Wait a second. Before I ask you to marry me, there's a bunch of steps to make that easy. You don't know me. So it's, let's go out on a date. Let's do this, let's do that. And to walk someone from being a mainstream believer to comprehending all the things I'm claiming or that are in my book, you start by just saying, well, you ask some foundational questions like, do you know this or have you seen this? And if they get interested, they get interested. But the second chapter in my book, and we haven't even mentioned it yet, is called School. And this is why I emphasize our self-talk. How are we talking to ourselves? As individuals, do we know? Are we talking to ourselves as a very, very loving and supportive mother, or as a very, confident and encouraging father? And what does that help? And here's what it helps. The idea, like I said before, that a large part of America, if not the world, functions, Jordan, as traumatized children. Traumatized from what? I say traumatized from the public school experience. 90% of Americans go through public school. And I describe how the experience is to train children in one thing: blind obedience, the worship and the deference to authority. It's sifting and sorting the most compliant, those who will compete in hierarchical structures, who want to be better than their peers, who want to kiss the ass of their superiors in order to be invited up a rung. And then the competition starts all over again. And as you rise in a hierarchy, you get to treat the folks under you like slaves, because hierarchies mean you take orders without any thinking for yourself, and you give orders without any thinking, and to followers who must obey without any thinking. And if you're not the kind of person who gravitates toward that naturally, school's a trauma. It's a prison. It's an abusive prison. And the net result is obvious. I accuse school in that experience doing that to humans until they're adults. Here's the most egregious crime against humanity, Jordan. It prevents children from making decisions. And without that experience, children become adults who do not trust themselves. They do not trust their own judgment. They haven't used it enough to trust it. They have not evaluated and made decisions about what to do during their day. They haven't made decisions about much of anything. They've just gone from room to room and listened and absorbed and experienced whatever was told to them, or whatever, more and more lately, whatever screen experience that they're put in front of. And that's why you've got a population that is as depressed, that is as addicted to drugs and alcohol, that is as addicted to cell phones, social media, video games, and pornography that it is. Because addictions are escape from what? the horror of our upset internal state, because we don't know who we are, because we haven't years of experience behind us. We don't have a feel for how to navigate ourselves through life, because to navigate yourself through life is nothing but situations that require us to make decisions. We were raised doing what we were told. We want jobs where we're just told what to do. We watch television and the advertisers tell us what to buy, and we watch politicians who tell us what to do. So also evidence of this traumatization is the epic, the growing, the catastrophic, almost fairly an epidemic of suicide and its attempt in all ages of Americans, especially the growth of it in the last many years, for 20 years, in young people, but tremendously more so in the wake of the lockdowns and all the other procedures of our response to the illness that shan't be named. So to just understand one's own thought process, that's what the school chapter in a lot of my book takes people through. I'm really trying to agitate and jumpstart people's self-analysis capability to figure out and answer the questions: who am I? What do I want? Why do I think what I think? Why do I feel what I feel? And how to start that process. And those can be overwhelming and terrifying. Now, I want us both to do this, Jordan, in case I've put you to sleep with the monotone of my voice. What do you make of all that?
Good. No, I completely agree again, and a big piece to what you said is decisions on how to think and feel on, on a deeper or grander level, or even on more of a day-to-day, what clothing to wear, what food to buy, how to vote, how to treat other people based on any list of things, as opposed to just treating people how they should be treated. And I've growing up, I've thought a lot about, if there was no media or advertising or, celebrities or these influencers now that have become very influential, how would people know what they like? How would people know? It would just be an interesting experiment. And I think that over the years, niche and indie and alternative kind of stuff is picked up a lot, but still there's just so much corporatization and mainstream, and just kind of all being led by the same leash to some degree.
Yeah. For folks who were raised with cell phones, eyes glued to a screen,
sure,
receptacles of a fire hose of an endless stream of content. There are a couple generations now that can be called the entertained. That's all they are. And how that helps our oppressors is, at least in America, we are supposed to be a self-governing people. We used to be taught to a decent degree how our country was founded, how our government was founded, and what our role is in self-governing ourselves and holding our government accountable and making sure that our representatives and our government expresses our will, and that we think and know that voting is the way to do it. Also, running for office and volunteering and being active in our lives, our community's life, and also in public life, which is the formation of policies, rules, regulations, and laws that affect us and our fellow Americans. And since the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963, there has been a crack and a fissure and a separation and a decay and a dying of that kind of active participation and confidence in our representatives and in our government and caring. So there's a full spectrum attack on our robust living and participation and impact and sense of powerfulness. And there are a few cliffs that we're headed toward, that the antidote is rousing in the individual, my friends, your friends, my family, your family, and anyone else we have the privilege of interacting with or having a conversation with, rousing in them a sense of personal power and then responsibility. Because without the sense of power, a responsibility sounds like a burden. If we are immature to a tragic level as adults, there's another reason to speak to each other, not pandering, not in a condescending way, but just acknowledging that children are reactive and emotional and triggerable. And it takes many, many conversations to help a child mature into an adult in terms of what they can intellectually handle and how fast they can handle tasks, working together, or challenges, and how secure they can be in their own independence, that if you criticize the color combination of the outfit that they're wearing, they don't feel that you're criticizing them. They hear you're criticizing the color combination of the outfit that they're wearing. That's not me. Those are my clothes. So you can give me your opinion about these attachments or these accoutrements or of me, and I'm not gonna cry, because I know the difference between my clothes and me. So, Jordan, these are humongous issues that we're, trying to describe in a conversation. But I'm glad we are, because when this recording's over and someone clicks on to the next thing to entertain them and they've forgotten all about it, hopefully we can plant a seed or two to gratify and satisfy a human being along these lines. And this is all very personal for me. This might sound like a lot of theory or a lot of whatever, but it's the result of two things. My effort, how hard it was for me to get comfortable in my own skin, how hard it was for me to even recognize my thought processes, my self-talk, and transform it into things that I could live with, to make it okay to be me, because we're always stuck with ourselves and our own thought processes. And the transformation that was the gratification I got from doing that, and also the lifetime of reading that I've done since the first grade. All I do is read. I read books, countless books. And just imagine, what did a first grader read? And every year after that, what did a second grader read? What did a third grader read? All the way through this particular human, Bruce, what did I read about? I got grabbed by the presidents in American history. Then I got grabbed by show business because I decided to be an actor. And I got grabbed by some fiction. So those are the basic, and then social commentary, and then news and current events, because I lived in New York City. I got the newspaper every day. So that swarm of stuff, I was reading, and poets and artists because of the show business and the mystics. And I grew up reading the Bible. I was raised to be a Christian. So it's from reading all that I could far and wide and deep about what many really smart people had to say about all these topics we're talking about tonight, plus my own struggles as just another human being who had self-talk from the random parents that I had, with their strengths and their weaknesses, with their immaturity and their maturity, with their sense of humor and their fears and insecurities, all packaged into Bruce. and untangling these things and separating these things. And now you do reach a point in life. I believe you're too young to be there yet, but I don't know your story at all, Jordan, where all of a sudden you are older than other folks. And all of a sudden you see there are younger folks who are struggling with stuff that you've got figured out, that you have a good handle on. So it's kind of, by the time you're, in your 40s, 50s, and I'm approaching my 60s, if we were talking about karate, it's like you can see the newcomer. You can see the 20-year-old or the 25-year-old. You can see the level that they're at, and you have some things to say that could just help. So that's my complete intention about writing a book about all this, and being such a mic hog in your podcast. I'm watching you carefully, Jordan. When you indicator that you want to speak or jump in, please do so. You're a great listener.
That's why I have you on, because I want to listen to you. No, please. It's excellent. And just to add to your point about why you did the book, and to reiterate the importance of the thought process, because I think your book helps with that. And again, like you said, we spend a lot of time alone with our thought processes. So the state of that is important. It can dictate our day to day. It can dictate, our path through the future to wherever we may land. And it could also dictate how we deal with people and make relationships with people, and how we deal with day-to-day problems, and how we process and deal with larger problems such as school, 9/11, JFK, the stuff in your book. So again, the thought process, it's so important, and it's nice to see a book that talks about the topics that you talk about, but it aims towards a higher purpose.
Amen. Thank you. That's I couldn't have said it better myself. And on my website, the front page of it is nothing but a long list of really great reviews I'm honored to have gotten from really, really smart people whose books I used to, I still read, but I was reading. And yeah, because we have to, two things, we got to fix ourselves if we feel we need fixing. And then and only then will we be the kind of people who could possibly help fix the things that need fixing in our communities, at the hands of our government, just all of our options for employment and for the food, water, and other things we need to survive. The qualities of these things are at stake in a big, big way.
I think we've had a nice talk, and I think we've nailed a good conclusion, and I think that would be a big part of it, is the thought process, having a good thought process, as well as having a good way to use that thought process when you're speaking about these topics with other people. Just like you said, it's about how you bring it up sometimes, and planting that seed. And you don't want to let others take away your power, your energy, your loosh, right? So you got to stay strong while finding a positive and constructive way to communicate these topics with others, so that not only there's peace at the end of the conversation, but you plant that seed, and maybe you force some reflection, and maybe you force someone to take a look at the facts and look outside the box of their hour nightly news, or whatever it is that they stay misinformed with.
Yeah. And recognizing the value of recognizing our own thought processes. Have you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill?
No, I have not.
Oh, I highly recommend it. Think and Grow Rich. It's a classic by Napoleon Hill. It came out in the 1930s, and it's never been out of print. And people typically get it for two reasons: to help them make money, obviously, Think and Grow Rich. But the fans of it, like me, love the revolution it caused, and how I pay attention to what I think because of what the book inspired me to imagine what thoughts are. It's the book that gave me the idea because it says thoughts are made out of energy and they become things,
I love that. I love that.
right? No,
That's
you
great.
you wouldn't even have to read a book about that. You could just spend days and days just making up, thinking about, well, what does it mean and what could I do? What have I seen? What is life if what is going on is thoughts are becoming things? So that's in there. And you said the word loosh. What does that mean?
Essentially, it's like your power, your spirit, your energy.
How do you spell it?
I believe it is. Let me double check. But
Is it a slang word or is it from some language?
no, I don't think it's slang. Let me just get the proper spelling.
If I roll to my dictionary, I don't feel like doing that, but it's just,
No, that's
it's
okay.
right there. I always have it. It's right there. I just love words, that's all. For you audio listeners, Jordan is intently studying what he has pulled up as he searched loosh. The secret word for today is loosh, Louche. And if this were an R-rated podcast, I would tell the joke about when the Queen of England was on Password.
All right, here we go. And I am a huge liar. It is actually Loosh. Sorry, the other spelling is a whole different word with a whole different meaning.
So it's like loose,
But
but SH. And what does
yeah,
it say?
so it's a term applied to the energy produced by human beings, animals, or other entities used to feed from. So it's your energy, man. It's what keeps you going,
But
what
it's our
gets you to do.
it's what we emanate, and it's an English word. It's not a slang word.
No.
It's your essence. I get it. I get it. And you know, there's a lot I've studied a lot about codependency as a personal interest, and
Okay. Well,
the
Loosh is a
real
big thing with that.
is it?
Yeah,
You could imagine it would
with
be. Yeah.
respect to, feeding off of someone else's
Yeah,
energy or
yeah,
someone else's
because
loosh, right?
the other side of the coin of codependency is narcissism and that whole relationship and dynamic, you know. So thank you, Jordan. A lot of time, but I like words.
Yeah, no, me too. No, absolutely. So there we go. We both had a little learning for today.
Drilled down into it. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So thank you so much, Bruce, for joining me again. I will be in touch again. It's always great to
Yeah.
speak with you, and I will let you know as soon as I finish the book.
Thank you.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Our listeners, I'm sure, definitely appreciate your words and your recommendations.
Well, that's gracious. And you know, we'll stay in touch and help each other because, you know,
Absolutely.
you've just created a brand new podcast. I want to help you, you know, get it out in any way that I can. I got a brand new book and I'm trying to, you know, talk it up to save the world. That's all I want to do. Like you.
And
Nothing grandiose about that. We just want to save the world.
that's brucedetourist.com, correct?
Yes, sir.
Where people can find you here?
Yes.
Wonderful. Great. And as for myself, you can find me at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Divulgence Pod. And the videos are available on YouTube. Audio is available Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and Stitcher. And I'm still trying to get on Rockfin. I'm having some issues trying to get on Rockfin. So if anyone is able to reach out to me and with any tips on that, I'd love that, because some people just don't want to support YouTube, and I understand that. And I also want to get on there just in case I get kicked off of YouTube or something, right?
Yeah.
So,
Are you on YouTube as Divulgence Pod?
yes, just Divulgence.
Just Divulgence on YouTube, but elsewhere as excellent. I have no experience. I'm a subscriber on Rockfin, but I don't have any experience creating anything there, so I got nothing. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, Bruce, you take care, my friend, and I'll be in touch, okay?
Yes, you will, and I will too. Thank you so much.
All right. See you later, Bruce. Good night.
All right. Good night.